What's up, you guys? Welcome back to our channel. I am so excited to finally sit down and make this video. So I'm sure from the cover photo and from the title, you already know that we are pregnant and we are welcoming our triple rainbow baby in August. So I wanted to just make like a first trimester recap slash common frequently asked questions that we've gotten since we announced. And if you missed our announcement video, I'll put it here.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
We're just so excited to finally get here. We didn't know if we would ever get here. So yeah, it's just been a crazy almost 2 years of secondary infertility. And if you're new to our journey, I have a bunch of different videos just sharing our journey so far. We've had 3 early miscarriages over the last like 20 something months. They were all before 6 weeks. We never made it to 6 weeks with any of those. And we did all the testing. I switched from an OB to a midwife. We did so many labs and so many different ultrasounds and tests. We started at a fertility clinic, and we actually, if you watched like the most recent update, we're planning to start IVF at the end of January of 2023. And if you remember in that video, it was the one that I did with Josh. This was like right after we met with our fertility clinic, and our endocrinologist basically said, you know, you can keep trying. You've had a successful pregnancy on your own before, so your chances are still pretty high, or you can just go right to IVF. So we continued to try for about 3 months, and the day after I made our IVF appointment, we got our positive pregnancy test, which is just so crazy. So I called and made our appointment on December 15th for the end of January, and on December 16th we got our positive test. So we're so grateful. I cannot believe that we're here. It still doesn't really feel real, aside from the fact that I already have a baby bump, but we're just so grateful, and I feel like I'll get into how I'm feeling in a little bit. That's the story so far of how we kind of got here. The most commonly asked question is like, what do we think happened this time, or what was different this time that we didn't do before? Honestly, I think we just got lucky with a good quality egg. So if you've watched our other videos, you know our story. The only sort of red flag that came up with blood work was that my AMH was low, and sometimes that can signify just a diminished ovarian reserve, so your body just doesn't have as many good quality eggs left that it should have at my age. And that can be just due to genetics. It just, for a healthy individual like me, there's really no reason for it. My doctor at the fertility clinic thinks that our miscarriages were just truly non-viable pregnancies. Your body is very smart, and basically it knew that those pregnancies, you know, either had chromosomal issues or something going on where it was not going to be viable. So that's why a miscarriage can happen that early on. So that's what he assumed. Obviously, we cannot like confirm that 100% without testing those tissues. And obviously, when you're that early, like I didn't need a D&C for anything. I just kind of had a normal period during those. Like that's what the miscarriage was. Not to be too graphic, but people ask. So he truly just thinks that those were non-viable eggs, not the best quality eggs, and that with both Kai and now this pregnancy, we got our good quality egg, and everything looks great. We did have chromosomal testing done, so we did the I think it's called the NIPT testing. So they basically do a blood test and it's like genetic testing to test for common chromosomal abnormalities. All of that came back great, and we also found out we were having a baby girl, so that was exciting too. So everything looks really great up until now, and we're just, every day is a blessing. The only thing different that we did this time compared to our 3 losses was as soon as I got my positive test, my fertility doctor put me on progesterone, and my progesterone levels were not low. I think when they tested them initially to confirm the pregnancy and get my first HCG test, which they did at right when I found out the day after, my progesterone came back at a 20, which was kind of in the middle of where they want it to be. I think the range for first trimester is somewhere between 9 and 40 something, 47. So mine was at 20, so kind of in the middle. They said it looked great. Obviously, we're in a good range, but it can't hurt to supplement that just based on my history of losses. And the progesterone isn't going to save a non-viable pregnancy. It's not going to necessarily prevent a miscarriage from happening, but it can. There is some research showing that it can be helpful if you've had subsequent losses. So we fit the bill there. He said it can't hurt anything. So I started with 200 milligrams of endometrin, which was a vaginal suppository. So you're basically shoving a pill up your vag every day. I did it morning and night. I don't know if that's the key. We'll never really know if that was the factor that allowed this pregnancy to progress and be sustained. But I think it's safe to assume that we've just gotten a good quality egg and a good quality embryo this time versus the other time. So I wouldn't say it was the magic key, but it's something that if you have experienced multiple losses like we've had, our issue was never getting pregnant, it was just staying pregnant past 6 weeks, so it couldn't hurt anything. So that was really the only difference. I did see a naturopath, if you guys remember. I think I did a video on it before this one. But I was only on her supplements that she gave me for a week and a half before we got our positive test. So any of the supplements that you're taking to hopefully help improve your egg quality, it's going to take at least 3 to 4 months, because that's how long it takes for follicles to mature. So I don't think those things, I was taking vitamin D and things like that, I don't think those things hurt, but I was on them for such a short time that I don't think that was the key for our success either, if that makes sense. So that's how we got here. I wanted to also just do a little first trimester recap, and kind of just go over how I've been feeling, symptoms, differences between this pregnancy and Kai, lots of common questions there. So overall, I've been feeling pretty good. I would say my biggest symptoms for the first 13 weeks of this pregnancy have been fatigue, super tired, and some slight nausea / food aversion. So just not feeling really into food. That has all subsided as of 2 weeks ago. So I'm feeling completely normal, to be honest, right now. But those were the 2 biggest things for me. I think early on, I'm going to pull up my little app here, because I did log all of my weird symptoms in the beginning at first, just to keep track. So I was just using the Natural Cycles app before pregnancy, and I'm continuing to use it just to track certain things as I go through. But if we go back to the week that I found out I was pregnant, a couple days before I got my positive test, I wrote very tired, weird appetite, and a headache, which were all not normal things for me. As somebody who focuses largely on biofeedback and my overall health, energy levels are always great. I'm never usually super tired during the day. My appetite is very regular, so I was red flag. Got my positive test and started the progesterone right away. So I got my positive at 3.5 weeks pregnant. My cycles are on the shorter side, so around 23 to 24 days. So I always find out super early. I found out at 3.5 weeks with Kai and every other one of our pregnancies that we've had. And my first beta was 119, and like I said, my progesterone was 20. And then 2 days later, you go back for more blood work so they confirm the pregnancy and make sure that your beta HCG at least doubles, and mine went from 119 to 350, which is good. I remember just feeling like so stressed those first few days because it's like, it's so out of your control. There's nothing that you can do to keep the pregnancy, but you're trying to be excited, but you're not getting too excited because like we had been there 3 times already. So it was just like lots of emotions those few days at first. And my progesterone on 48 hours after starting supplementation went up to 36. So it went up really great. And then I started having just symptoms like sore boobs. I could feel like just my uterus was heavy. And that's the best way I can describe it. Like somebody asked me like, what do you mean by that? Like, what does it feel like? And it doesn't feel like you're getting your period really, but it sort of just feels like heavy. Like you just, I don't know. I've been pregnant before, so I was like, I'm pregnant. Like I knew I was pregnant before I took the test because of that feeling. So it just feels like something's in there, something's growing. And it's probably just like the excess blood volume maybe already. I don't know. Bloating, it's just a very significant feeling for me. I also had a very stuffy nose for like the first couple weeks that I found out, which can be a symptom of pregnancy. They call it pregnancy rhinosinusitis, and it can occur anytime during pregnancy, but it was just like runny nose, like, and I was not sick. I didn't have a cold or anything. It just was just like so much mucus was coming out of my nose. And during like the first, I would say from like week 4 through week 7, it's like your symptoms fluctuate so much. So there would be days where I felt all the symptoms, and then there would be days where I woke up and felt totally normal, and that really freaked me out at first. Especially just with like our history. But it's so normal for symptoms to fluctuate throughout the first trimester, so I had to keep reminding myself of that. And I remember in the very early weeks, probably like weeks 4 to 5, I had like a very upset stomach, so like no issues going to the bathroom, but just like very upset stomach. And then around like weeks 6 to probably 10, I had the opposite problem, very constipated, which was probably due to the progesterone supplement that I was taking. Just lots of just abnormalities as far as digestion, my energy levels, my skin was kind of a little wonky, lots of acne, just hormonal, like painful ones. Nothing excessive, but lots for me. So just like little things like that I just obviously knew were from pregnancy. But I would say overall I felt pretty decent. I have generally mild first trimester symptoms compared to a lot of my friends and a lot of people that I know. I never threw up aside from having a 24-hour stomach bug that came with a fever, which was not related to pregnancy. Don't recommend that. But I never threw up from being pregnant, and it was more so just, you know, the typical fatigue and exhaustion, which I'm very grateful for. And I feel like it was very similar to how I was with Kai, which is why I thought it was a boy. I don't really get a big gut feeling as far as if it's a boy or girl. I've never gotten that with any of my pregnancies, but I was just comparing like symptoms, and I was like, maybe it's a boy because I feel very similar to how I felt with Kai. So that was interesting, like a surprise to find out that it was a girl. And we're so excited for a girl. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see Kai as a big brother. And I'd say overall, just mentally, the first 6 weeks were hard for us just because we've never gotten to that 6-week mark. So I felt like that was more so my high anxiety, high stress period, just because you just don't know. Every day you're kind of just waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of thing. But for me, once we hit the 6-week mark, I felt a lot of relief. I felt a lot more supported for this pregnancy because we were at the fertility clinic, so leaned on them a lot, leaned on my therapist a lot, and just really tried to take it day by day. So we got to our 6-week mark, and then the following week we had an early ultrasound at 7 weeks and got to see baby. That for me really just allowed me to exhale and relax. And then I feel like Josh was able to finally exhale and relax, like once our genetic testing came back, because he was worried that the progesterone would like mask a miscarriage or mask a non-viable pregnancy and have my body holding on to a non-viable pregnancy, which I guess was possible. So he didn't really fully relax until we got to like the 10-week mark. But I feel like now, you know, ever since the ultrasound for me, I've been in such a good place as far as mindset and not being as nervous. I think I'm just more so like normal pregnancy worries, right? Like not anything excessive. So just very grateful. And that's the other thing. Like I feel like I'm so much more mindful and grateful just because of our journey and because of our experience and because of what we had to go through to get here. Like I feel like I'm actually enjoying this pregnancy so much more than I did with Kai. If you've been following along since then, you know I didn't love being pregnant with Kai. And while I still prefer not being pregnant to being pregnant, I feel like I'm definitely just way more accepting and just enjoying this pregnancy more mindfully than I might have if we didn't go through the losses. That's the update, I guess. We're 13 weeks and 1 day today. We have an appointment tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm entering that second trimester bliss period where you just kind of feel normal, your energy levels come back a little bit, and just overall feeling really good and really grateful. So I just wanted to make this video. I will be making more videos about like training, what nutrition has looked like. So let me know what you guys want to see, what you want to hear me talk about as far as pregnancy or any of this stuff goes. You know, I love sharing about it and being open about it. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions by leaving a comment. And thank you guys for listening and watching this video.